So in this video, we're going to talk about 5 things to make you a successful recruiter. I have studied lots of agencies. I'm an experienced recruiter. I've looked at people really successful in the agency recruiting space, and their businesses all have these 5 things in common. So I'm going to list them out. Now, these are not soft skills. These are not how to, listen on the phone and how to close a deal and how to look good. It's not going to be soft skills. It's going to be actual things that you can implement in your business or need to implement in order to be a successful recruiter in whatever field you're in. So I'll start off with number 1, which is database. So your database or your connections with the outside world is what makes your agency valuable. Yeah. It makes your life easier as well. So I don't say, oh, just, grab loads. For example, I've got every single care home and most in my sector mapped. I've got every contact on there. I've got all the names of the company. I've got phone numbers, etc. Yeah, that takes time to build. I've got, 160,000 CVs on there in a niche. Yeah, so if anyone comes onto the market, they end up on my database. If I were to sell my business to a larger agency, the first thing they would look at is, what is my database size? They won't look at turnover and profit. They'll look at that after. It's what the database is based on. So if you start off an agency, it's very hard. You're hand to mouth. You get a job order coming from a client, and then you say, oh, where can I go? Where can I find that person? The first place you should look, most of my placements come from my database because I built a system to funnel everyone in automatically when I need them. Not, oh, I need them right now. It's, I might need them in a few weeks, few months, even a few years. Yeah. So that's important. You must, once you establish yourself, start building your database. Pay a lead sourcer to get every single finance company or construction company and add them to your CRM. It takes time. They can do it. It's not too expensive. They can put the details on there and you can start specking out CVs easier. That's the process for that. But I won't go on that in too much detail. The other thing to be successful is you must have a good niche and low competition. Yeah, it goes without saying, too much saturation in the market will take too long for you to establish yourself as an authority in that sector. Yeah, so you must have somewhere where it's a good sector, not too much competition. I'll give you an example. Language agency. I recruited just German. I couldn't find any other German speaking agency, and there was an abundance of clients and jobs. Yeah, so the market cap of that might be, I don't know, if you placed every job, might be 5 million a year profit. So even if you can get 10% market share of that, if you're going into IT as a generalist, you're probably not going to establish yourself. Anyone with a successful agency, I saw someone the other day and he was recruiting Python, Python developers. So that's a specific language for IT or developers. And he does very well. He's got 30 staff. I don't know him personally, but I had a quick chat with him. So you must have something where your niche, your competition, I always make videos on niches. In order to be successful, you have to avoid low competition or be the first to market. So if you started to recruit for Web3 or AI or cybersecurity, you're one of the first. You can establish yourself, gain market share, and it's easier from there. It's hard to break into an already established big sector. So carefully tread with that. Yeah, and build yourself as an authority, number 1, etc. Yeah, or have some unique selling point. Third one on this list is quite important. Yeah, I looked at statistics the other week. I think it was about a month ago. All the profitable agencies have some sort of implementation of automation, or you must have, let's put it down to just a process. You can't be successful if you're like, oh, I'm doing business development. Oh, I've got a client. Okay, let's try and place this job. Yeah, randomly, you're all over the place. You have to trust me. My life is so boring. Everyone would kill themselves if they were me. Because everything is just a process, a routine. It's just organized well. Yeah, I can't do dilly-dally all over the place. You must have a process. And what I mean by process is, okay, I've built an automatic email funnel that emails clients throughout the year. Yeah, there's nothing about, oh, I've got a cold call. I've done 30 today. I've done 12 yesterday. No, I've got a certain amount of emails going out, a certain amount of follow-ups going out, and a certain amount of scheduled emails that people said come back to me on. Yeah. There's nothing about me saying, oh, I'm going to see how much I can do today. Yeah. How many candidates, how many CVs are going onto my CRM, how many are scraped from elsewhere, job boards, wherever. It must be a process, because you can't quantify a random time where you're doing 12 emails a day. Yeah. Or I've got no CVs in today in my database. I've not grown the business. So you must have some form of process and automate that process as best as you can. The most successful businesses were implementing AI and automation. The most profitable, not the most successful actually. I should say the most profitable businesses. And that's what we want, profit. So number 4 is to be a successful recruiter, it takes time and you must have long-standing relationships. Yeah. Consistently, I put it down to, I looked at where I worked years ago. I was a director and we had loads of clients long-standing. And it was a very small agency that grew very fast. And we grew off the back of the long-standing relationships and acquiring new business, which was led by me. So having long-standing relationships, obviously no one can pluck long-standing relationships out of thin air. But in order to be successful, I've got clients that have always stuck with me, even from jobs to business. I've always had them with me. Yeah, I've even had long-standing candidate relationships. There's a lady that works in HR and she's gone, I placed her in her first job. It was like a consultant role in HR, and she's a director. I've placed her like 4 or 5 different jobs and she gives me the contracts. Yeah. So it's like you must build up to long-standing relationships. In order to be successful, you must have accounts. You can't have random clients. It must be accounts that every week they email you 14 jobs, and eventually you want to build up to exclusivity. Yeah. Okay, we're working, I'm making all the placements. I never forget, I went to meet this client one day and I placed loads of jobs with them, and they were like, here's a graph, and they gave me a piece of paper and it was a chart, and it was like this agency's name, little chart, 1 placement, this agency 0 placement, this one, and then me, it was like a chart like this, and then they had their own one where they made like 3 4, and I made like 20 placements with them, and they were like, how did you do it? We're not working with anyone else. If you can consistently deliver, I said to them, look, we can do something about the fees, give me exclusivity. I'm on their portal right now. I've got an email address at their company with my name on it. I'm online, I go to their HR meetings. That's how the relationship has built over time, by being the best at it. So long-standing relationships will make you a successful recruiter. It takes time, it's a bit of a weak one, but that's something you have to have. You can't be just grabbing business, making placements, hand to mouth, those sort of, low-hanging fruit type of roles. And 5th one is a boring one. I can't really impress anyone with this in this video, but you must understand your market. And what I mean by understanding your market, again, it takes time. But to be a successful recruiter, I can save maybe 1 week compared to others of time agony. I get a job order come in. Let's say I'm an accountant recruiter and I get a job for an accountant and the salary is 46k. It's in Northwest London and the hours are 45 hours a week, something like that. Off the back of what I've just said, you can't tell me, unless you're an accountant recruiter, if that's a good, easy job to place. Yeah? I can't tell you. But I can tell you, if a registered manager comes up in paying £60,000 in Manchester, I'm placing that tomorrow. Yeah? Because I can tell you that because I'm in that industry and I know that job. Yeah? And I've placed many in that role. Yeah? So you must know your market and not where am I going to pick up placement. So once upon a time, I got a hot map. A hot map is where it shows in the UK where all my placements are. So it's got little dots and then it heats up. I think it's called a heat map or a hot map. So I had them all on the coastal regions and I'm like, wow, I've got loads of clients in these areas. This is where I need to target for business development. First of all, I targeted areas where I didn't and I thought, have I missed anything? But it's clear there's no demand there. So I ended up with all these clients and I thought I was a genius. I thought to myself, wow, okay, I've got real good data. What I didn't do right was I should have actually done, and I did after, where I've made the placements. Because what I've done is I just picked up more jobs in that row and there's a reason those jobs are sat there, because they're not placeable. So what I've done is I come back and I understood my market and I found out where I made all the placements. That was the important part. The part where I've missed is where I'm making the money. So understanding where you can make your money, what the job title entails for you to make the money and to make the successful placement. If it's a low salary, you'll be like, like you take a job when you start off an agency, any job that a client gives you, you won't even know if it's a good job. You won't even know if it's a good client to work for. Is that a profitable job? Is it an easy placement? Is it really difficult? If someone comes to me, oh, you've got 25 grand for a nurse, I'll be like, look, I'll just waste your time getting you to sign the terms because I'm never going to place that. Yeah. So happy to look, but there's no point even, dreaming about making that placement. Yeah. In no one's world, that's going to happen, basically, Mr. Client. So being consistent with it is also key. Yeah. So you must be consistent and talk to candidates. Candidates are the best thing about it. So without rambling on, I'll go through the 5 points again. Database, build your connections. That's where the money is. That's the value in your business. That makes your life so much easier. Number 2 is pick a correct niche with low competition, dominate the market, and then grow from there. Processes are third, so automate it, build your processes, have it all organized as well. Number 4 is long-standing relationships. You must have long-standing relationships and be building towards that. Anyone that seems like a good client, treat them well and they'll treat you well, and you treat your candidates well. Number 5 is obviously understanding your market. You can't do it unless you can't market research this. Go in, dig deep, and get in there, stuck in there, and you'll understand your market. Become an expert in your field is what people pay us for. So, hope you enjoyed this video. Hope it's been helpful, and it's not too much rambling. Take care.